think bees are just such a great connector between people and the natural world and the food that we rely on, and often hidden labor. So there's a common statistic, people say that 1 in 3 bites of our food comes from bee, and most of us aren't thinking about that. So our morning coffee, for example, those coffee beans were pollinated by maybe a stingless bee in the tropics, or blueberries in your breakfast might be from a bumblebee in the Green Mountains of Vermont. My name's Leslie Spencer. I'm a PhD candidate here at the University of Vermont in the Food Systems graduate program. I'm also a fellow at the Gund Institute for Environment, and my research focuses on wild pollinator conservation and education on farms. I study wild bees for my research. So wild bees are the bees that are native to our region. While honeybees typically get all the attention, they're actually a domesticated non-native species. And here in Vermont, we have over 350 types of wild bees. For the first part of my dissertation, I'm looking at how warming temperatures will impact wild bees that pollinate our blueberry crops. So wild bees are really essential to blueberry pollination, creating both bigger and better berries, which is obviously really beneficial to farmers to have a big berry crop. But warming temperatures will actually create areas that are unsuitable to grow blueberries and for the bees to live. For example, the southern United States is predicted to get too hot for these bees and these berries. So we're interested in modeling how presumably these relationships will have to shift north to think about future regions that are optimal to continue having wild bees and blueberries, because those locations are rapidly changing. In the second part of my dissertation, I'm working with blueberry growers in Vermont to understand how we can support the wild bees that are crucial to their blueberry crop, but to keep an invasive fruit fly pest in check. So there's a fruit fly called the spotted-winged Drosophila that is invasive in Vermont and is really destructive to our soft berry crops. And so the challenge with this system is that the invasive pest and the wild bees share the same habitat, which is the natural area adjacent to crop fields. So we're trying to understand, can we optimize that habitat in favor of the beneficial wild bees, but not this invasive fruit fly pest? Pollinator safaris are something I started doing with friends of the Tufts Pollinator Initiative back when I lived in Boston, and we found it to be a great way to invite people to explore the sort of secret lives of pollinators right alongside us, and to bring that exploration energy of thinking about an African safari. We can do that in the city with little insects as well. So I've now brought that idea up to Burlington thanks to my friends at Tufts, and it's a really great way to invite people into the farm, and again, to pay attention to something they maybe weren't noticing. These insects are easy to miss if you're not paying attention, but I think once people start paying attention, they can't unsee and they can't stop looking for these insects that are living right alongside us all the time. So this project has emerged out of an interest by Shelburne Farms staff to understand how they can create the most impactful programs. So they invite people onto their property for all sorts of education programs and hope it sparks meaningful change beyond the farm when those folks go back to wherever they're from, whether it's Vermont or beyond. And so we really want to make sure these people have action steps to take conservation steps when they return home. It's a really tangible conservation movement. Like, I can go home and plant something in my garden for bees right now, whereas you think of the other big problems facing our world today, they're a lot less tangible to do something about. And I love gardening, I love food. These are all things that I feel like are tangible in my day-to-day.